activism. Distinctly separate concept. Proactivity played by judiciary, activism by the Indian judiciary essential for the preservation of function democracy. Preserve correct. Store. In spite of negatively associated with the word activism, Indian judiciary has always acted as alarm bell to maintain the federal character. Alarm bell to ensure the executive has become the alive to perform its duties. Executive cannot overrule the constitutions. Judicial activism is not a distinctly separate concept from the usual judicial activities. Separate concept. Judicial activism is also a concept of policy making in competitions. With policy making by the legislative and executive. Policy makings. Essence of true judicial activism is rendering of decisions which are in tune for the time. Activism is judicial policy making which further the cause of social changes. Social changes and articulates concepts such as liberty, equality, justice, and activist judge activates the legal mechanism. Make it a private role, vital role in socio-economic process for the legal interest. For the public interest, judicial activism reflects the following trends in the administrative system, namely expansion of right of being heard on administrations, lapses, excessive delegation without limitations, expansion of judicial control on discretionary powers, judicial control over the executive, expansion of judicial review over the administrations, indiscriminate exercise of content power, over extending the standard rules, interpretation in search to achieve economic, social and educational objectives. In India, the national emergency in the second half of the 70s reduced the apex court and the high courts virtually at the mercy of executive authority. It was the end of emergency in the Supreme Court, and also some of the high courts began to show signs of judicial activism by intervening the executive legislative areas. From the then onwards, the Supreme Court of time and again resorted to the weapon of judicial activism to preserve the sanctity of the constitution's structure and its attempt to do its tend to promote the socio-economic development of the country. Judiciary stand in the recent 2G spectrum cases strikingly proved that necessity of judicial activism is restructuring the administrative requirements. It was the end of emergence. Supreme Court and also some of the high courts began to show signs of judicial activism. The executive and legislative areas from the onwards, Supreme Court have time to again resorted to the weapon of judicial activism, preserve the sanctity of constitutional structure, indiscriminate exercise of control of power, extending the standard rules, social and educational objectives in India. The national emergency in the second half 70s reduced the apex court and the high courts virtually at the mercy of executive authorities. Need for a review of the Indian Constitution, justifier view. Need for review. Review क्या चाहिए? A review the aspect related to Union-state relations made by the commissions of the centers. State relations to address the social, economic and political development that have created new trends, tension and issue affecting them. Besides strong need that which calls for a healthy democratic debate on the Indian Constitution. In view such need, 2000 Union government passed the resolution passed किया for setting up a national commission to review the working of a constitution का. The setting of a commission suggests that after so many years of working of the constitution, time is ripe enough to restructure. Time is ripe enough to restructure. Constitution time is ripe enough to restructure the constitution to suit the needs of the administration by a welfare state which evolved with the time. Indian Constitution since inception is being relevant till the time due to the flexibilities and provision to have requisite amendments. It is quite justified because the Constitution is the guideline for the government to govern the country. So, it must be equipped to deal with the changing needs of time and refine the existing feature of the constitution to make best suited to complexities of administration. The growing corruption in administration due to criminalization of political parties, lack of transparency in issue related to election in world largest democracy, the absence of a legal instrumentalities or set of law regulating the conduct of political parties, legitimacy of fund raising, audit and account requirements, and inner party democracy. There is the issue of economic failure and indicated by the existence of 260 million people below the poverty line. This point, review of the Indian Constitution. Oh, the point of efficiency and the non-accountable ability to administration constitutional protection. If the service under the Article 3 has largely been exploited by the dishonest officials who have all hindered smooth functioning of the administration system. Moreover, the judiciary is identified by the delay in the trial system, both in civil and criminal cases. These are the just a few inadequacies that have adversely hampered the unity and integrity of the Indians. The delay justice. This, however, justifies review of Indian constitution. Growing corruption in administration due to criminalization of political practice and lack of transparency in the issue related election in the world largest democracy, the absence of legal instrumentalities or set laws regulating the conduct of political parties, legitimacy of fund raising, adult audit and account requirement occur in the party democracy. There is the issue of economic failure indicated by existence of over 260 million people. Actually, education. Fundamental duties to abide the constitutions. To abide the constitution and respect the 1976 Sardar Saran Singh Committee. Fundamental Committee recommended the incorporation of fundamental duties in view of a necessity of failed during the internal emergency 1975-77. Incorporated into the Indian Constitution. According to new part IV was added to Indian Constitution, Article 51, containing 10 fundamental duties. In 2002 through 1986 Amendment Act, one more fundamental duties are added. The Indian Constitution adopted fundamental duties. Some of the fundamental duties are moral duties, while some are civic duties. Moral or civic duties. These are confined only to citizens, only like the relative principles of the state. Fundamental duties are not justiciable. However, the Parliament is free to enforce them. Appropriate legislation. The fundamental duties are guaranteed by the constitutional. Abide the Constitution, respect its ideals and institutions. National flag and the national anthem. Flag. To cherish the follow noble ideals, inspire the national struggle for freedom. Follow noble ideals. To uphold and protect the sovereignty protect and integrity of India, defend the country and national service country to promote a harmony and the spirit of the common brotherhood. Harmonious brotherhood, country national service when called upon. Value and preserve the rich heritage of the country's composite culture, preserve, protect and improve the natural environment, value and preserve rich heritage of the country's composite culture, protect, improve the environment, develop the scientific temperament, humanism and spirit of inquiry and freedom, to safeguard the public property and violence of the public property, strive towards the excellence in all spheres, individual and collective activity. The citizens.